welcome back, guys, to another episode of Cops and Whatnot. Today I have with me Miss Addy Perez. Addy, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Addy Perez. I work for an agency in South Carolina.
All right. Addy, how you been? I hadn't talked to you in a while before, probably 5 minutes ago.
I know, you've gone and done bigger things, and I think we all are, and here we go.
So, Addy, how long have you been in law enforcement?
It would probably be going on 7 years now.
And you are, obviously, you're in the military as well. Are you still in the military?
No, I got out probably 4 years now. Got out 4 years ago, been in for 12 years. Decided it was time to disconnect for family reasons. And when they told me that my last contract was being indefinite, I was like, peace out.
That's never a word you want to hear when you're in the military.
No, I don't hate the military. Just family came first. So
as it should. As it should. Beautiful family, by the way.
Thank you.
So, what is your favorite part of law enforcement?
I think my favorite part is trying to help the community as much as I can, bring in a better light for law enforcement. For women, there's a lot of things women can't do. It's a male-dominant occupation. And just being able to do the job is help everybody out. It's not always about arresting everyone. I mean, of course, it's part of it. But I think what I love the most is just being able to bring people at peace in some way of fashion or form, So.
Yeah, I think the women in law enforcement stigma, I think it's going away. I think it's still going away at a slow rate, though. Obviously, working with you and working with, several other women, there's some tough ass women, and especially around here, but just in law enforcement in general. I think I'd much rather mess around and piss off a guy in law enforcement than a woman. I think most.
Especially me, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're not only a woman, you're a Hispanic woman, so.
It's a whammy.
So, but you've, you like I said, you got the military background. You've been in law enforcement. You're a mom. I mean, you've got a lot of things going for you that make you a tough woman, and I think that's something that when people see you in uniform and see you on the streets, they probably the first thought's probably, oh, this is someone I can mess with until you open your little Hispanic mouth and they realize no, I've done messed with the wrong one.
I mean, the thing is that it's experience, it's the background, it's how you grow up. It's, at the end of the day, like, it shouldn't matter if you're a male or female as long as you fulfill the requirements as the occupation needs to, just like in the military. If you're a female and you can't go do the push-ups like you're supposed to, or pick what you need to be doing, or do the, this task that was given, then that's your own fault. Like, you're not prepared for it as you should be. Like, this shouldn't matter what gender you are, period. I mean, in any occupation, you should be able to do the job the way you're supposed to do it, regardless of your gender. And if there's things that you cannot do, then you cannot do. It is what it is. But I mean, I don't think it should be changed because you can't do it. But if you're gonna walk into being a cop or you're gonna walk into the military, you better pull up your big girl pants up and start doing what you got to do and prove your work. So it's just. I mean, just a lot of things.
I think we've both worked with people where we get ready to go into a house or something like that, and you've got men and women, and there are times when I look at some of the guys that are there, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go with her. So I mean,
the generation has been changing where women, men are getting weaker and women have to step up and play this game.
I don't think men are getting weaker at it. I think.
Let's just be for real. There are some men out there that are weak. Let's just be for real. I'm just gonna put it out there. They are weak. And it is what it is. And women are just stepping up to the plate. And it's all nonsense.
And I had this part of this conversation with Kazupi the other day. I'm one of those people that, if someone gets into law enforcement and realizes, it's not for them or they can't cut it and stuff, I
Yes.
have zero. You'll never hear me badmouth someone who realizes that and gets out.
Nope. Can't get
Because
out.
to me, that is someone saying, I'm a liability. I shouldn't be here. And much respect to people who do that than the people who refuse to admit they can't cut it.
Yes, yes. If it's not meant for you, don't do it. Don't keep going. Don't keep faking the funk.
It's fine.
You know what I'm saying?
This isn't a career for everybody. If it was a
No,
career for
it's not.
everybody, everybody would do it.
And it's perfectly fine.
Hmm.
It's good that you tried. It's good that you experienced. You know how you got your feet wet. But if this is not for you and you can't handle what the consequences and the things that you're facing, you need to just move on out and go to somewhere else. And it's perfectly fine. We understand. There's no bad, potential your reasons of leaving. It's better that you leave and then put us in a dangerous situation that you can't engage the way you're supposed to and enter a residence the way you're supposed to, and then you freeze in the moment, and now we have to only pay attention to the suspect or whoever the victim. Now we gotta pick you up.
I think we'd both be more pissed off if we get hurt because we're trying to pick up
Listen,
pick up the person behind us the slack versus if we
I'm
just walk
coming
in and
after
get
you
hurt.
full force. I'm coming after you full force after everything is done and probably whooping your ass because you made me do what you gotta do. I'm telling you right now, don't do that to us.
See, I think what people fail to realize about you, Addie, is what people see. When you're on duty or whatever, that is you on duty, off duty. That's not some that's not an act you're putting on. That is.
Oh no, I'm as transparent as it's gonna get. Like when you see me on one thing and how you see me in person, I am the same person no matter what. I'm probably a little bit more aggressive and annoying on the outside, but it's perfectly okay. It's just better that way.
I think that's just a thing. I know a lot of Hispanic women, and I think that is just a quality that you find in Hispanic women. That it's an endearing quality. How's that?
Look, we don't like sugarcoating nothing. It is what it is. This is what you get. Embrace it.
Speaking of off duty, what do you like to do when you're not at work?
So, I don't have a lot of free time actually. Every time I think about what do you do, I really stay home a lot. I really do. I think my focus is more on the kid now,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure he goes to the park, he gets his things done. So my free time is mostly making sure that he's happy, making sure that what he does is great. I think if I had the time and I had a babysitter all the time, I would go dancing for, salsa dancing or something like that.
Let's specify salsa dancing, people. Salsa dancing.
Yeah, salsa bachata dancing. I did that a lot a long time ago, and it slowed down a lot. It's just I'm home a lot. I just wanted to make sure the kid's good. So if I can go somewhere, trampoline place for him, or going hiking, then I'll just.
Now,
do
is the
that.
trampoline place park really for him, or is it more for you too?
Look, my knees are old as hell for me, and I'm gonna try my best, but I'm not going there for I almost killed myself in a zip line, so that was like my mad last call on it. Okay.
So salsa dancing. Where were you born? Let's start there. Where were you born?
I was born in the Bronx, New York.
New
I was
York.
not born in Puerto Rico. No.
I didn't say you were born in Puerto Rico.
No, we're two different breeds almost, but the same family. It's just and my Spanish, my Puerto Ricans know that. We're just two different breeds.
So is salsa dancing something that your family always did, that you started at an early age, or was that something you learned more as like a teenager?
No, I did not know how to dance. Let me tell you, I did not know how to dance for nothing. And when I got older, I decided to practice, and when I was able to go somewhere that had it, I just went and practiced, and then figured it out, and I was able to pick it up, but I'm not like this ballroom dancing salsa, like I'm not that crazy, I just like to do it when I can, but other than that, I'll get bored and I'll just go on to the next thing,
I've seen videos where you turned the music on in your house and y'all were dancing around everywhere. Like,
look, I am entitled to express myself by dancing, okay, in my own house.
So, that's I think, you hit on another point. I think that's something that, women in law enforcement aren't. When I say they aren't appreciated enough, a lot of women in law enforcement are mothers too, and it's, you like being in law enforcement for as long as I have. People say, oh, I'm a cop. I go home. What do I do when I'm off? I try to spend time with the family and stuff like that. But, you're a mom 24/7. So even when you're at work, like you're still having to think about what to do when you get home and stuff like that with what dinners and stuff like that. Just being the full on mom 24/7. I think that's something, like I said, that most women in law enforcement now I think are mothers, and that's a respectable thing that they can do that at home, basically have that full time job at the house, and then come and be a mom at work, because basically you're having to scold kids and adults, and I mean it's.
Listen, that child is my parole officer, and I don't even know her. All right, and and it's a choice, right? Like I made this choice. I made this choice to be a working mom. And could I have been a stay-at-home mom? Probably yes. But everybody has a choice if you want to stay home, and it's not downplaying anybody or nothing like that. But how I choose to be is a working mom, and then dealing with him as well and stuff like that. So it's a lot of work, but I chose to have this life. I chose to have my child. I was older and I was ready to expand the family and stuff like that. So I'm glad I had one. I didn't think I was a person to ever have kids, because I always said, I don't want kids. I never want kids. And that's a true fact. Everybody you thought we were going to be a dog mom forever, but when you marry someone, of course you change your mind and, give it a try. And here I have a 4-year-old who tells me what to do, and he thinks he can, but it's hard.
Yeah, that's
interesting.
Look, I don't know how you ever tell him no. That.
Oh no, I tell him no.
Oh, I know you do. I'm just saying I don't know how you do.
I tell him no, but let me tell you something. I do not want to be walked over by him, and it's crazy because as a army person, as a veteran, as someone who went overseas, someone who's a drill sergeant. I was a drill sergeant for sergeants, and then I go into law enforcement, and here you got a 4-year-old, and I'm struggling. It's just crazy, and I'm definitely testing my patience. Okay.
So what? You mentioned being a drill sergeant. What led you to joining the Army, and then on top of that, what led you specifically to going into being a drill sergeant?
So I was trying to avoid being in the Army. I was trying to avoid being a cop, because that's like a family tradition now, right? Because I have multiple generations of law enforcement in my family. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just do the college thing and go. I was supposed to be a veterinarian. I was really into animals. I wanted to be my veterinarian. I wanted to have my own clinic and everything. But unfortunately, financial aid fell through. And I had to make a choice, because I wanted to continue my career path at the time. And so I joined the Army. I was already used to it, so it was no biggie to me. And I joined the Army a couple years later, and basically actually became a veterinary technician in the Army for military working dogs. And I did that, and I went overseas and did that. I worked in emergency trauma out there. And then that's pretty much where I was like, you know what? Well, when I went to boot camp, I was like, I want to be a drill sergeant.
I want to yell at people.
Yeah, I want to do that. No, but I wanted to mold soldiers. I really did, because at the time I was in the ROTC program before, so I was already being molded for that, and I was already used to it. So when the time came, because I was in a reserve unit, they offered me the position basically open for interviews. And so I did it, and I enrolled in, and I went to the school, blah, blah, blah. I went to the whole thing, did the yelling and barking nonsense. And I did a year on the trail for privates, and then I went to the academy to be a drill sergeant leader, which is the one that wears the belt. And we trained sergeants to turn into drill sergeants. And I did that for 2 years. And I loved it. It's just the most prestigious position you can be in the military, in the Army. And it was a good fit for me. I learned a lot. It molded me. I was a shy person before, and that whole situation just changed who I am and made me who I am. So, good transition for me.
So, where all have you been due to the Army? Was it just straight New York, South Carolina, or was it?
No, so I was a reservist, but I was on active duty orders a lot. So I was like, well, I'm going to do my time, and so I jumped for training. So I went to California for drill sergeant duty. I went for Fort Jackson, Fort Leonard Wood, Fort Knox, and then I went overseas to Afghanistan and did my time there. came back and did training for an instructor in California. So I was doing a lot of instructor positions in my time. I did whatever the Army allowed me to do because the Army restricted
Mm-hmm.
me going, like, I wanted to go airborne and things like that. And it's just complications when the Army, feels that reservists can't go places and hindered me a lot. And I competed a lot, like best warrior competitions and tried to prove my worth, and that didn't work out. Which part of the reason why I actually get out is like you do so much and then you don't get the positions that you were. I was a PT stud and things like that, and that's kind of discouraged me a lot. And moved on to something else.
And you've held several roles in law enforcement. One of which, I believe, you were on a special response team for a little while.
I did, which nobody thought I can do, so I actually did
Which is crazy because
I got judged a lot.
you were come from the Army. You were a drill instructor. Like those aren't easy things to do. So.
You know what it is. I get judged a lot, and it's just because when they look at me, I'm like, I think they apparently think I'm like a cheerleader, like you're just
Mm-hmm.
capable of doing something. So, not to say anything bad about cheerleaders, but I'm just saying, oh, you can't do that, But a lot of people do not know my background.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a few people who actually knew what I did before and knew I was capable of doing it. And that one person was the person that pushed me to do it. And I was like, I got this. And I actually did it not so long after I gave birth.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think it was probably like, 4 months after? Because it was in the winter. I just gave birth to my son in the summer, and I was like, the trials came in, and I was like, I got this. I'm going to do it. They're like, no way. I'm like, okay, I got it. And bulldozed through right through that training. Whatever they needed me to do, I did it, and ended up being on that special response team for about 2 years.
Was that what? I'm not gonna say a shock to yourself, but was that something that like you consider like a big accomplishment for yourself? Was being able to get on not just a special response team, but one a pretty good special response team.
It's an honor because I actually wanted to do it a long time ago before I had my child, and then I guess I didn't understand the flow of things at the time. And since I was occupied with other duties, kind of held my time with it. But it's a great way to be a better officer because of the training and things like that. I wanted to be a better officer. I wanted to be prepared mentally, with the Army in my head, with law enforcement in my head, and I wanted to be part of the camaraderie, that team. It was definitely an honor to be able to show that I was worth being part of it in some sort of fashion. Even if it was just bringing equipment at the time, because it was a team to support entry and things like that. I loved it. It was, you always got to start somewhere, right? And that was
Right.
my starting point. I got to help the team, and then when I get there, hopefully one day I was able to be part of the team and things like that. But my time got cut short for personal reasons, but it's okay. I still appreciate my time being part of it.
I mean, I was never a part of it, there, but I mean, it's anytime you see someone, the resume that you have is probably not something somebody thinks of when they see you. I mean,
Never.
so, I think, when you say it's people didn't think you could and stuff like that, I think that is probably more along the lines of people who don't know you.
Yeah.
I think the people that know you and know your personality, know your strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. Stuff like that's not a surprise. I think
I rather just, that's why, and it's better that way. It's better that I don't be like, well, I did this, I did that. To me, I'd rather show you that I can do it, because if I can't do it, then I'm screwed, right?
Right.
So I'd rather just go to step up to the plate and do my best and do what I gotta do and hold it down and prove that I'm able to do it. And if I can't, it's okay. You know what? I tried. That's how I tried. But at least I'm not out there saying, oh, I did this. I'm a special forces. Like all this crazy shenanigans everybody else does. Like, it doesn't matter. Do what you gotta do as according to what they want, and do the standard, be the standard, and get it going. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
that's how I'm like a ninja. They're like, why didn't you know you did that? Like, don't ask.
Right.
It doesn't really matter. As long as I did my job and what I'm supposed to do. That's the end result. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't fail you. So it's okay. It's perfectly fine. Everybody's like, how do you know you did that? And it's like a whole bunch of things. It's perfectly fine. I'm great with it.
So let me ask you this: when do you get another bike?
Gixxer 600s, and then my husband wants to, sell my Gixxer and to get a victory, which is perfectly fine because we do want to ride together, on just joy rides and stuff like that. It's hard because people really don't pay attention to motorcycles on the road, and it's getting very dangerous. We lost a family member to that, things like that. So, not saying that's going to stop me from riding. I would like to get another one. But one thing after giving birth to my kid, I got a little shaky trying to go back on the bike again. I don't know if it's because of the muscle tone that I lost or whatever, or just the concept of that I have a son now, things like that. So maybe I'll go back into it later. That'd be good. But if not, I'm okay because it's like a bucket list thing. Like, you know what? I've done it. I had fun. I enjoyed it. But at least if I know I got back on the bike, I can ride again. So.
Yeah, I think like for me, just being able to get on the bike and just go ride, it's very peaceful. It's relaxing,
Yeah.
But you do. I mean, the first day I bought it, I had to ride it all the way back from Jacksonville, Florida, because that's where I bought it from. Terrible. Yeah, no, I would not recommend that to anybody. But I didn't have a trailer. I wasn't down there to buy a bike. I just bought a bike on the way back. But
spontaneous buys.
Pretty much. But I mean, like I said, first trip back, I mean, there were so many people, like you said, that just don't pay attention, and you've gotta pay attention twice as much as somebody in the car, because I mean, especially like, where I live right down the street from the interstate, so just driving up and down that road, people coming off the interstate, they don't pay attention, they don't care. I don't know which one it is, but
it's better when you're in groups. But I had a group when I first started, when I moved out to South Carolina, but of course they're all military and they all moved. And so it just like trying to find a group now is more difficult because a lot of people are, they don't want to ride bikes anymore. So it sucks, but one day I'll call you, be like, I got a bike.
Well, if you call me, I'll ride wherever. Like I said, I just like riding. It's something that I've always wanted a bike. I've been on bikes before, but I've never owned one. And the times when I was like, I'm gonna get a bike, the one time before that I was really gonna get a bike, like the next week, found out that we were having another baby, so that kind of put a kink in that one. So, but I'm finally old enough now. The kids are old enough that I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get a bike.
As long as you're okay.
I got insurance.
Oh Lord, as long as you're good.
So,
for me.
So
I
you.
can ride the Victory, but it's a little heavy right now. So I need to get.
I'm not quite in the cruiser stage yet. I know that I'll get there, but like I said, for me, I'm still a fan of. Like I said, I've got a Kawasaki, and I am still a fan of it. So.
You're right here.
You mentioned dogs earlier. How many dogs you got?
I got 2. I have seniors in my house. I have Shiba Inu, who's 12, and then I got a pit mix, who is 10 now. So I got senior dogs in my house. All they do is sleep, which is great for me.
Old dogs are good, but you got to cherish the time with them, because.
Oh yeah, they've lived a long life. They're spoiled as hell. They're good. The kid loves them and everything, so it's great.
I've got I got a Boston Terrier. I've got 3, but I've got a Boston Terrier that is 15 years old, and we're doing everything we can to keep her life going. She's in diapers now. And she's figured out she's got diapers, so she'll just be laying there and she'll look up at us and just crap in her diaper, and we're just like, you're not even moving, like you don't even get up now. You just.
Oh Lord. I hope I never have to do that, because I mean, working in the vet field for like 15 years or so, I'm like, I know what to do now, so it's the good part is that I know what to do with my dog if something was to happen to them. And people still call me like for, vet advice, and I'm like, God, it's been a long time. I haven't been in vet stuff for a long time, but I still get those phone calls, so. We've taken
her before to the vet, because she'd had a bad week or two, and we took her to the vet, and I was like, this probably is gonna be it. And then we get there, and the vet does everything, and he's like, no, I mean, other than she's just old, like she's still in really good shape. And we're like, okay. So
you just appreciate the time you have with your animal, and then that's you cry, and then you move on to the next thing. You give another opportunity for a new pet to have a life the same way your old one did.
So did you ever want to be a canine handler?
I did. That was trooper. The trooper situation, I actually did everything with the troopers, and I was supposed to get hired because it was, I was a drill sergeant. So think about it, it was like a perfect transition to that. But I applied for another agency, and I advised that I wanted to be canine, but because I had to be on a community team first, apparently, I got stuck in that, which I don't regret, and I'm perfectly fine with it. It actually gave me a good experience of the community side. And I did want to be a canine handler just because of what I did in the Army with, military working dogs. I was already familiar with that vibe. I just wasn't a handler. I was just on the medical side. But it didn't happen, which is fine. It is what it is. No worries. I still appreciate where I was placed. It was placed there for a reason. I think it was a perfect choice for me. It would have been cool to be canine, but I just live vicariously through you guys.
You're not too old to do that yet.
No, we're not doing that now. I can't do the other dog in the house right now with me.
Come on. I had 4 in my house at one point. Not canine, just I had my 3 dogs, but plus the canine. But
oh no. Now see, that would be hard because my current job is just too much traveling for me. I actually care for more pets. I actually had 2 ferrets last year. They lived to be 7, and they passed away last year. So after that, I'm like, no more animals, and then I got a whole saltwater fish tank also I gotta take care of. So I am not trying to add more responsibilities on the top of the stuff I'm already doing. So
ferrets are fun animals. My daughter had 2. Well, she had one of them that died a couple weeks ago, but it's not been the worst thing because she's been able to, now she just showers the one that she's got left with all of her love and attention, and it's like now it's like the happiest ferret ever. Like it was depressed for a couple of days, and
death is normal.
So
it is what it is. Unfortunately, death is normal at this point, and you guys are more resilient. That you give them the life that you can, you make them happy. You pass on, you give the life again to another. So
what's been your favorite animal? You said you've had ferrets, dogs. Let's do this. How many different animals have you had?
Not much, really.
Really?
Not really, because I've had 3 dogs. My first one passed away at 17. Then I had a ferret when I was younger. She also passed at 7. And then time passed, and now I got my current dogs, who are my second and third. And then my ferrets that passed away were my second and third. So I haven't had too many animals. Outside of whatever, it's just basically the ferrets and dogs. I've never had cats before, And
I've had a shit ton of animals, different animals.
I know you do. You got a whole freaking farm, dude.
I don't anymore. I used to. I had 3 pigs.
Where's the pig?
We had to give those to somebody who had a farm because we don't have them. I live in an HOA.
Okay.
Like, what do you?
Yeah, exactly. You need a farm.
So the problem is now, like, I've gotten rid of half the animals that I have, so now that I've got the money for a farm, I don't have the animals. I had the animals, didn't have the money for the farm. Now I have the money for the farm, no animals.
You'd be okay. You can always rescue. Those are always animals that need to be rescued anyway.
I did fostering for probably about 3 years, but we only fostered like animals with disabilities. Like we had blind and deaf dog. Deaf dog. We had a dog with a bone disorder where its legs didn't grow straight, so it basically like army crawled everywhere. You'd have loved it.
Oh Lord, that's so mean.
I did get to name the blind and deaf dog, and it was a boy, so I named him Keller. If it was a girl, I'd have named her Helen Keller, but
I'm done with you.
So, but no, I mean that was always rewarding because those are dogs that at pounds and shelters and stuff they're overlooked because people have to put in too much work to them. But obviously, I'm an animal lover, so any chance I get to hold an animal or bring a new one home, I do. So.
Oh yeah, I mean after when these guys have their time and they pass after they live a long life, I will go back to a shelter and adopt another one. I've had 2 adoptees, and the only one that's not adopted is my Shiba, because I needed a particular size at the time and wanted that particular breed. So I got him from a farm, and so he's the only purebred in this house.
I think I've got my blue pit is the only purebred that I have. The Boston, she might. I don't know. She's 15. I don't know. Got her from a flea market, so I doubt it. And then the pit Corsa that I have, he was a rescue. He's just the sweetest thing ever. He's just so looks like a lioness in the backyard.
Ah, that's funny.
So
I mean, I love my dog though. I have my two that I have now.
he keeps
They're good
he
dogs.
keeps pulling up the cross that I put in the backyard for where I buried my daughter's ferret.
Oh Lord.
He doesn't mess with he didn't like try to dig it up. He just likes chewing stuff. So he keeps picking up the cross apparently and like dragging it all over the yard.
Let me do you a favor. Let me drag this thing across.
Yeah. So, but um, I've got one question that I ask, start asking everybody at the end of my interviews. It is, what is your why in law enforcement? And by that, I mean, what is the call or the success story that you have that you keep with you that lets you know that what you've done, what you're doing in law enforcement is the right move. It's where you were meant to be.
Is the messages I get for those who get inspired by watching me or seeing me or speaking to me, and they go fulfill their careers and their dreams in law enforcement or the military. That or just the phone calls of like, thank you for improving the neighborhood, or thank you for or just being you. Those bring a good heartfelt to me in my heart, knowing that I did a little something. I can't change the world, but if I can put a little peace and happiness in somebody's heart or mind to be able to be pushed and motivated to do something, or find some peace in their residence, in their neighborhood and community, that has been my what I hold dearly to my heart, basically. Just seeing that and hearing that, it just makes a difference.
Well, Addie, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk with me, in front of people this time.
I mean, yeah, I didn't think I was never going to do this.
Like I said, I know you have a very busy schedule, 2 jobs, kid, family, on top of everything else that you do. Like I said, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me and just being you and showing everybody, who Addy Perez is. So again, thank you for that, and good luck, with your jobs and loving on that little boy of yours.
I appreciate it. I'll see you around.
Bye.